we are moving, we're segueing centuries forward to actually the 20th century, and a very real incident that happened during World War II on the East Bay side of the San Francisco Bay, where in 1944, wasn't it?
That's right.
1944. A group of African American sailors who are not being allowed to go fight for their country were put to hard labor loading and unloading munitions off of boats and on the boats, and under unsafe, really driven conditions. And the inevitable happened. There was an explosion. Almost 400 people lost their lives, mostly African American sailors. And a group of them, when they realized that they were going to be immediately put back to work under the same conditions, mutinied. And there wasn't really, they just refused to go back and do that work. And they were charged with mutiny, court-martialed, and prosecuted. And that incident is the basis of Mutiny at Port Chicago, which is written by Paul Leaf, who's in studio.
Hi.
Hi, I'm good. And who's also directing. And one of the principal characters of the play is also in studio, someone I know very well, Teddy Garces.
Hey, how's it going, Julio? How you doing?
Fine. And you play the character of Ed, who's almost like by acclamation is the leader of the group of sailors. You're the most educated, your character is the most educated.
That's right.
You've had a high school education. You would have gone into college, but the war broke out.
That's right.
And you very quickly, realize and try to make the best of your situation, which is to get out of line.
Exactly, yeah.
And so the play deals with the beforehand situation of the sailors and their conditions, and the white officers who they have to report to. And then the aftermath, which the second act is mainly the trial that happens. Teddy, the character of Ed, did you spend a long time creating a backstory for him?
You know, what's interesting about that character is that, throughout history, a lot of characters like Ed have existed. I like to call Ed the Martin Luther King of the story. He has a great deal of integrity. He's strong. He tries to drive the truth, do things the right way. But of course, every human being is naturally flawed, especially when you create a character for the stage. Although this individual did exist, you can't create too much, because it was already in existence.
Is this an actual character who lived? It was not a fictional one.
Well, his real name was Little, so
right.
I made
right, yeah.
his real name was Small.
Right.
So in order to avoid any possible
lawsuits,
or invasions of privacy, I made him Little instead of Small.
It was just
we got a huge guy to play it.
I know you used the original transcripts. The profanity sounded really strange coming from the white prosecutors. Was that actually in the transcript, the profanity that they relate to?
No.
Oh, okay. It's effective.
It was given for dramatic license, right?
Yeah, it was certainly.
But Veltman was a Jew. He was but the defense attorney was a Jew boy from Texas.
There are 4 African American and 4 black actors in the show, representing the whole 50.
Right.
So, and with varying attitudes. Did you guys discuss the interplay of men given this situation?
The way it played out is that when it was cast originally, the people who were responsible for casting, of course, Paul and the producers over at the Ruskin Group Theater, Mike Myers and John Ruskin, they just happened to cast 4 people with 4 very different personalities who could actually represent one area or another. We have humor, we have strength, we have the silent but very intelligent type who doesn't speak, and then of course I'm I'm playing the leader, so to speak, the hero, so to speak. So it was just, I want to say it was a matter of chance, but it seems like it worked out very well. But of course, everybody did their own research and developed their own character.
Well, it was chance that these 4 people had come together.
Right.
And it was marvelous to be able to cast those, not only, you know, talents, but those qualities that they had. You know, one of the guys was just enormously funny, and we thought, you know, I thought that's a great aspect, you know, it's a relief.
Right. There's a natural thing that happens whenever you a play having to deal with African Americans and Caucasians in a situation where the African Americans are being subservient, and that is that any kind of discussion of cooperation, some will accuse the others of being Uncle Tom, and on the other side, being elitist, you know, and both those things come into play, you know. It's almost impossible to walk that fine line.
Absolutely, absolutely, and the play addresses that from beginning to end. There's a wonderful scene in the play that I will not give away. You have to go down and watch it, but there's a wonderful scene in the play that actually addresses that entire issue of, you know, either listening to the hierarchy or going against them, and that fine line that the one person has to actually walk when he's confronted with that decision.
By the way, we're talking about Mutiny at Port Chicago, written and directed by Paul Leaf. It's produced by Mike Myers and Dana Lynn Bennett for the Ruskin Group Theater, which is our lovely little house in the airport. It's a converted airport hangar at 3000 Airport Road, Santa Monica, in the Santa Monica Airport. And the number to call for tickets and information is 310-397-3244, 310-397-3244. Teddy, the characters that you play, it's brought up early in the play that you all volunteered to fight for your country.
That's right.
And it was fairly well known that the Navy was one of the more segregated departments of the military might at that time. So I was interested in, you know, the philosophy of just the servicemen who would volunteer in the Navy. You put in, the characters must have known that you would get the kind of duty that you got.
Well, the whole idea of not putting a gun in a black soldier's hands, and Paul can clarify me on this if I'm a little bit off. He's more of the historian on the matter. It came from George Washington was the one that signed documents saying, well, you know, we will allow black soldiers into the military, but we can't put weapons in their hands lest they turn against us, so to speak. You know, so they were allowed to load these heavy ammunitions, very volatile explosives with absolutely no training whatsoever.